Hold on. Can you hear me?
That is a pretty badass intro.
Okay, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, because when I did the live stream last night, I started talking right after the intro, and apparently there's a pause. That intro, I look at the comments, and you stole that from Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. Actually, when I was talking to Will on the phone 4 times since I got home, Will does not stop talking, dude. The guy from The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction, holy cow.
Right.
Dude, you cannot get a word in edgewise. But when I saw that in his documentary, I'm listening to it while I'm taking something apart or whatever. And I heard that, I dropped everything because the day before, my dad and I were talking about that movie. But remember, shall we play a game, Thermonuclear War?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The next day, I hear I hear Will remix that. And I'm like, dude, can I use that in my intro? He said, absolutely. And he's supposed to have done a live stream with us like 3 times. He never responds. I'm down for it. He's like, dude, this is between you and I. I get him on the phone. I haven't talked to Will since he first came around. I had him on my channel way back in the day. He was just coming up. So I was promoting his channel, but our live stream was horrible. It was horrible. I didn't know how to use a microphone, blah, blah, blah. And then I got into a kerfuffle with him online about something that I don't even remember. So I hadn't talked to him in years. He calls me, and I'm not exaggerating, Keith. For 20 minutes, dude, Richie, you're a legend. We look up to you and blah, blah, this, that, the other thing. And I'm like, I said, yeah, I don't know, but I'm an asshole with a laptop, dude. I don't know, that's great, but, don't do that. And I didn't expect that from him. I said, how about this? Seeing how we're running out of time here, why don't we hit a live stream? Absolutely, you got it. So every time I hit him up, it's crickets. I don't hear from him for 2-3 days. You know what I'm saying? He's an odd dude, man.
Yeah, we all are in our own way, I guess.
I'm hip. But it appears that talking about the little season, I'm getting accused of leaning on experts, and it's like I'm leaning on people that know the Bible by heart. I'm learning the Bible, as you well know. You know what I'm saying? I've never ever claimed to be a biblical scholar. I need to go to my experts, people that know the shape of the earth, what's happening in the sky, like you and a few other people hit on all cylinders. Like I would consider you as fully awake as they're allowing us to be. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do, but I mean, our source is the word. It's the Bible. Everything that you espoused on the little season last night was straight out of the Bible. And granted, we do bounce things off of one another. That's very, very important. But ultimately, our source is the Bible itself. And when they're bringing out these doctrines that completely contradict the Bible, you got to say something, right? But I believe personally that this is all a ploy. This is being generated and promulgated by unseen, forces, using AI, using all kinds of tactics to insert contention amongst Christians, to take our focus off of things that are important. Because for me, this is just me personally, when I look at the little season theory in doctrine, and I have looked at many videos, they're top guys. They're most popular, most, articulate, biblical guys, and it falls flat on its face. All of it's just complete speculation, hyper spiritualization, discounting multitudes of things that would have had to have occurred, but telling us that, oh no, they all occurred, but they've been magnificently hidden, because that's how Jesus rolls. He doesn't want to share this knowledge and information with you, right? It just, to me, it's not
That's what
even
I.
worth it's not even really worthy of expelling our energy on, dude.
I'm
I mean,
hip, but I'm seeing a lot of people that have been followers of you and I in the word apparently for years switching over to this. And from what I'm seeing, this is the basis. They're finding all these buildings from the 1800s that were magnificent.
right.
All these churches that they couldn't have built these things, man.
Yeah,
You could, this was magnificent building, and they're saying that's when Jesus was here. Jesus
it's
doesn't build
absurd.
buildings like that, man.
It's
Jesus
absurd.
created. Look at the earth.
It's
But
absurd. Jesus would have approved of one building, and that's Ezekiel's temple that you'll find in Ezekiel 40 all the way through 48. Where is that? Where's the evidence that that was there? Why is the Mount of Olives still in one piece? There's just one after another things biblical that just cause it falls flat on its face,
it,
and it does get the blood flowing, because it angers me to see this kind of heresy gaining so much traction in our brethren, you know. But
same here. I told you since I got home. When I got home, there was a turning point. It's funny that the rooster crowed as I said that.
no, yeah,
Reminds me of Peter.
yeah,
At any rate, was I right there when I said it reminds me of Peter?
that's right.
See that? You see what I mean? Been reading my
Yes, sir.
Bible, brother. All right. When I got home, when I was driving home, I had been on the road for 18 months. That's a year and a half on the road, dude. It's a long time. And a majority of that time, I'm completely alone.
Yeah.
So you're just thinking and thinking and thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
When I got home, I was pretty depressed. I'm the whole time I'm driving home, I'm like, I didn't accomplish what I was hoping for. Like I feel like I lost here. I'm just driving home, and it's as soon as I get into the Northeast, and I have to say that this has to be the frequencies, the we're in such a confined area, and there's just so much technology and traffic and people and frequencies and chemtrails.
Yeah.
It messes with you. It happens to me every time. But this particular time, I was really down on myself. Like I was at the point where it's like, this was all for nothing. And then magically, all of a sudden, 5 out of 6 of my channels are just handed back to me. So now I have access to 250,000 people collectively that I didn't have prior. Do you know what I'm saying? And
I
I'm
do.
looking at that going, this is a trap. This is a trap. Because right away the conspiracy thing is this is a trap. And it turns out it probably is. When you look at the militarized conspiracy theorists that are trying to take down NextRad, I'm like, wow, that's weird. Because everyone's like, HARP's doing the weather. And how many times have I said HARP makes earthquakes and whatever? NextRad and Doppler, and here's the graph, here's the chart, is what controls the weather. You can watch it in real time, steering, stalling, intensifying, or mitigating a storm. And next thing you know, the FBI is looking for militant YouTubers that are talking about taking down Dopplers. And I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But here's the deal. I'm not going to fall into that, because when have you ever heard me say, let's rise up, fellas?
No, that's ridiculous.
When the lockdown occurred, I thought it went without saying. I thought that people were going to stand, and I was in motion, and I was pretty much let down. I'm like, wow, people are making stylized face masks to prove that they're against the machine. You know what I'm saying? Like It sucked. It sucked.
Yeah, it's a hard road to freaking walk, man.
It is. It is. Whether you know this, dude, you know this. You know
Oh, I
you're
know it.
constantly ridiculed. Nobody listens to you, and now all of a sudden we have this entire thing dropped in the middle of our laps. Now they're finding giant structures under the pyramids. Yeah, whatever, dude. You know what I mean? People don't seem to understand all those pyramids for time immemorial. They've told us that those were burial chambers. There was never a person found buried in any pyramid ever. But nobody seems to care about that. That's nothing to see here.
That's how they roll, man. They are the masters of deception.
Well,
Just like we were talking about the gematria stuff, it's the same thing, just a different category. You know what I mean?
well, with gematria, anybody with gematria can take my name, Richie from Boston, or Many Fish, and say, "Look it equals 666 somehow, one way or the other."
Well, yeah,
You're
one of the
looking, you don't practice gematria. You look at the numbers and correlate them to events and locations flawlessly.
well,
666.6 miles from this episode to this episode, and in between them, here's all the monuments and obelisks. It's astonishing, man. It's
well,
crazy.
Satan's etch a sketch. That's where we live.
I find that very funny that you said Satan's etch a sketch, because if you take the material in an etch a sketch out, it's basically thermite.
Wow.
That's a true story. It's funny you just brought that up, because militarized YouTubers. That's a funny thing that you just said that. At any rate, I get home, everything's looking better. Suddenly I've got a voice again, on a larger scale. And then all of a sudden, every time I turn around, it's Little Season. And what do you think of Little Season? And I kept saying, I think nothing. But then I finally address it, and I realize people that I thought were really, really hitting on all cylinders are really believing in this, man.
Yeah,
Where is Jesus? If this all occurred, where's Jesus? Is he hiding himself from us? Did he leave his domain? Where are the people that were raised up? Where is the first awakening of the dead? You know what I'm like?
no,
Go ahead.
I fully understand, man. Well, that sets it up perfect for when Jesus tells us, Matthew 24, the first thing he tells them, don't be deceived, because there's going to be many Christs, meaning many people speaking allegedly in the name of Christ, using scriptures to deceive people. They'll tell you he's in the desert, he's in the secret place. You're going to get a myriad of very powerful falsities. I believe we're in that time, man. This is part of it's like a faith crisis. People are falling away. They're losing faith. It's all about faith, man. It really is. That's our foundation, is our faith in Christ. And when that starts to falter, that's when the adversary comes in and starts just laying down all these fables and these mysterious things to get your blood flowing and cause you to believe that you're being exposed to some secret mystery. And you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
It,
I do.
I really do believe that this is evidence that we're seeing the manifestation of the falling away that's in Second Thessalonians 2. And that occurs right as and before the man of sin is revealed. So that fits in with all of I'm looking at too, between the Pope and Trump and just Israel, the whole nine. It's a lot to keep track of, man. It really is. And live a life at the same time.
Right. Right.
You know,
It's the hardest thing about being home is I'm helping my father out. I'm getting things done around the house that he's not. It's not easy for him to do anymore. So I just take care of these things, and it's like I'm home. I'm with family, but then they're completely not awake, and that starts to bleed into me. Like I can't even talk to them because my father will be like, Trump just did this, that, and it's like, Do I stay true to myself? Do I start a huge argument with my father, or do I just, yep, he's that Trump, he's a real Dickens, that one, he's good. It's a tough situation. But here's something from what I'm gathering, people are basing that we're in the little season because of the mud flood and all the old buildings and all this amazing architecture that we can't duplicate. Well, some of that architecture are temples that are built into mountains. The Hindus were huge with this. They'd start with a perfectly flat mountain, and then they would dig down and make an exact, perfect, symmetrical, mirror image temple underground. So if they did that because Jesus returned, do you think Jesus would really be like, yeah, we really need to make an enormous monument to Ganesh?
Yeah, let's raise up all these idols, basically.
Right?
No,
it's
again,
if you had to refute, if you had to not convince somebody, but if you had to refute the little season, what would your best ammunition be?
The Bible.
I'm here.
And everything that you talked about last night, everything we've already talked about this morning. Where's Ezekiel's temple? How come the Mount of Olives isn't splitting in half? I mean, we could just go on and on and on. The first resurrection, these are the immortal priests. Where are they? Jesus has just decided to leave at the end of the 1,000 years and go hide somewhere. None of it makes sense. It is completely and utterly absurd. Now, that's my opinion. I know people are going to still come against it because this is a strong one. This thing has really grabbed a hold of a lot of people. And again, I think it's because they're weak in faith. We need to pray that the Lord would build their faith, because we're in that time that even if it were possible, the elect will be deceived from the myriad of things that are being thrown at us. And it's all focused on Christians because that's the main target, man. If the enemy can get a Christian to believe a lie, right, then, man, that's victory. Is it not?
Without a doubt. It gets the Christian to go against the numerous biblical scriptures that tell you that this is going to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're telling us the book of Revelation, I guess, was written in the 1,000-year millennial then. How is it's just, again, I don't want to be like spewing on anybody that believes this stuff, because I understand the subtlety of the enemy and how he can creep in and tickle ears and get you to just fall into something because your faith is starting to fade. You're not in your word. You're not in prayer. You're losing hope in the world. You're seeing all this garbage going on. So it's prime attack mode. The tactics that the devil uses are deception, number one. And if he can get you to believe something that you have like you're the one who was chosen to receive these brand new revelations and secrets, he just builds off of that. And when people come to believe these things and they bind them up in them, they take them as truth. Once that connection is made, man, it's hard to break them from it. Once you take hold and believe something firmly to that extent, you can give them all the evidence you want, and they're still just going to find something to come against you. I've had multiple private discussions with these people who believe this. I've done, I can't even tell you, just off YouTube. And dude, it is borderline a strong delusion. I mean, I can't believe the grip that this has taken on professing Christians and the jungle gym manipulation that they have to do with scripture. They have these few core scriptures, this generation will not pass till that's like one of their foundational scriptures they use. They don't even dig into the words. Look at the Greek and the generations aspect of it. It's an era. It's telling you that the generation of Jesus's church, his family, his body will not, these things will come to pass before this generation ends, which we are at the end of it now, which is why you're seeing this outpouring of these delusions, these deceptions, super powerful ones, man.
And we're not. It's 9:30 in the morning. I have my truck out on jack stands. My parts came last night. I should be reassembling my truck. Keith was loading up chainsaws to go to get things done. And we both stopped to do this morning because I thought this was important. This isn't for views. This is to save this is not to save. I don't know. I think that may be too strong of a word, but it's to show people that are falling down this wrong path where they're at, because we were warned this was going to happen, and it doesn't. I don't understand how people do. The firmament hasn't ripped apart like a scroll. The Mount Olives is still intact. Where's Jesus? You know what I mean? Where are all the people? Where are all the saints that were raised up in the first resurrection? They all just left so that this could all happen. None of that. It doesn't make any sense. But people are holding on to this for dear life. Hope is an amazing thing, but
That's
hope
right.
can be wielded against you. It's a double-edged sword, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It does.
If I don't make sense, say so, brother. That's why I have you on.
Of course I will. I think what we're doing here really is just expressing a concern. We're trying to just let people know that we're in a season of deception, like unlike people can really even imagine. I mean, it's that deep and complex, and it touches at your very emotional being. Like it's a manipulator of the up to millionth extent, and we underestimate it as a general body. Many of us are much more susceptible for falling into these things.
That
And
makes
again,
sense.
I believe it all comes back to faith. Will I find faith when I come? Why would he ask that question? Because it's the foundation. Read Hebrews 11, man. By faith comes understanding. I mean, that's scriptural. If your faith is weak, you're going to have weak understanding, and you're going to be wide open for attacks. We talk about the full armor. Do people really understand what that means? And do they understand that you need it all? You can't just go wielding the sword of the word around and creating your own without that shield of faith. That's what blocks the fiery darts. It's like you have to put everything together in order to withstand the wiles of the devil, because he's way smarter than, just like Gordy said about the AI, because he's talking about the same entities.
Right.
They're way smarter than anybody in this room.
And they don't care about you.
And without your faith and grounded in the word, and having that discernment that only comes through the Spirit of the living God, you're going to be deceived. It's that simple. Period. End of discussion. Because I've seen it, I've experienced it with my own eyes, my own experience. I know the wiles of the devil. That's just been where I've been placed and given that understanding. And I try to, show people that what is being, launched against you goes far deeper than, all this material patterns and things that I share. It's just a very, very, very deep deception that people are falling under. And that's the way I see the whole thing, man. I really do.
I gotta say, I think that God automatically gave me a shield to deflect this when it came up, because every time people ask me about it, I'm talking, I've got to say at least 1,000 emails and comments combined. What do you think of the little season? And my instant reaction was nothing. I don't think anything of it. But I mean, it's just getting so loud right now. It's
Mhm.
got to be addressed. And when I put out what I put out last night, I thought that would wrap it up. But
No.
it appears that people that I thought were really, really awake are falling for this hook, line, and sinker, man. They really are.
Unfortunately, it's true, man. And we need to be praying for them, man. I mean, people are going to come against this. I guarantee you. But we have to deflect those things because we stand on the authority of the word of God. End of discussion in my book. It's not because I say so and I
Right.
know everything. It's
Right.
because that's what the word of God says, not my interpretation. It's what it says. These guys, they're taking and twisting and hyper spiritualizing things and the buildings. I mean, of course you can build magnificent buildings like that when you got an endless workforce, right?
Right.
Like back in the day, man, you had a million guys. You could just get this thing done, man.
And it's funny that right now science is coming out. I didn't realize how many studies were coming out where science has discovered that magic is indeed real.
Well,
And
sure
I'm
it is.
thinking to myself, people don't look at that. People don't. They don't look at something like this. All right, it's a cell phone. It would be considered absolute magic back in the 50s, not even back in the old days. I'm talking back in the 1950s, man. And it's literally made of dirt, rocks, sand.
There's
That's it.
definitely
And then you inject magic, man. There's a reason they said that technology will be so advanced you won't be able to tell the difference between magic. I'll clean this up when I post this, but
no, I
real
got you.
quick, I know you got things going on. I can hear that people are incurring on your property. I remember
Let me.
the bell. I remember the bell.
I'll shut that one off.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's like I said, I'm going to edit this anyways. But here's another one, and I thought this would really pertain to you. Is I've got a couple of people that are very consistent with their comments saying that you can't upload your consciousness into AI. And I'm like, I got a funny feeling you don't understand what AI is. People got to snap this thought that an AI is simply another computer like I'm using right now. AI
Mhm.
is a tool that allows these guys to have a conversation like we are right now with fallen entities that are giving them all the information in the world to build their own cage and they don't even get it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, we're going to give you all the wealth and power in the world. Just keep building this machine for us. And when it's over, and then we finally show up and men's hearts fail from fear because they can't believe what they just unleashed on themselves, we'll take care of you. We'll look out for you, etc. What do you say to people that think you can't upload your consciousness into computers?
Well, you have to really define consciousness, because there's a lot more complexities to that than just simply, brain synapses and what have you. Um, it's a soul trap, basically, is
Yep.
how I look at it.
Yep. You spoke about that in your last video.
It's trying to get you to put your faith, your hope, your belief, and essentially your eternity in believing the lies. And it promises to help you to live forever, doesn't it? You know, you will take from that tree of life. Isn't that the quest?
Yep.
And, it's like you were saying, the computer chips are made from the dust of the earth, just like Adam was taken from the dust of the
Yep.
earth. It's like it's a complete inversion of God's, his story, which is what it is. And the enemy simply inverts all that and uses it as a deception tool to draw people in, because people, oh, we can't just believe and have faith that Jesus died for my sins in order that I could be in the presence of God. We can't. We must have to do something. We have to improve mankind, because it's not good enough for God. They're making man into his own God. You know, it's really how it boils down, quite
Well,
frankly.
they did a wonderful thing because ego and pride are two bad things, and we all suffer from it. But
Absolutely.
with the rise of social media, look at how many people are now. I'm an influencer. I'm a god. You know what I mean? Like we've watched these people. It's astonishing how people like back in the old days. Don't take my picture because you'll steal my soul. That
Mm-hmm.
was the thought. And you know what? I wouldn't be. I've thought about that a million times. That could probably make sense. We don't know what taking a picture even means. You know what I mean? Like, how is that even done or whatever? But nowadays, it's just nothing. Everything. Oh, I need a camera. Where's my camera? And I'm horrible at it. I do it all the time. But I'm always doing something, and I'm hoping that either the words or the action will somehow help somebody else out. You know what I mean? But
Well, yeah.
I'm, we live
It's
in a
the
strange time.
it's
All
the
right.
intent, the intent of your heart, dude. I mean, that's what God sees, and He'll lay out the path. It's people are drawn in, and they think that they are the masters of their destiny, and that they can figure it out, so to speak, right? And it feeds on that pride. It feeds on that ego. You know,
Yeah.
it's simple in its own right, but unless you understand how it operates, then you're just a wide open target, because it'll come in from every angle. If this angle don't work, it'll throw another angle at you, and it ain't gonna stop. That's why
Uh,
that armor of God goes at the end of every single one of my videos. it's
It
it's
does.
it's so critical for people to understand what that is and how to don that. And
I
it's direct.
remember I remember when you first posted a video with that ending. I had zero editing skills and I'm like, how did he do that at the end? That's amazing. Look at he's got an outro. That's crazy. I'm stealing it right off the bat. Tell Mrs. Manyfish I didn't mean to hold you up this long.
Oh, dude, don't worry about it, man. She says hi. We're all
Check
praying for
check
you.
this out. Check this out. This is a real offer, and I want you to consider it before you answer. But I'm signed up. I've been recruited to be in a conference August 26th to the 28th, I believe, in Kentucky.
Hmm.
And this is off the record. This is between you and I. The only
Hmm.
reason I'm not hitting the end record button because I think it's going to play my outro, which would be obnoxious right now. Um, would you would you like to be a speaker?
You know,
Listen. First of all, they pay you. It's not a ton of money. No. Listen, let me tell you. They give you. I think it's like $1,500 total. But if you did want to go and bring your wife for the 2 days, I'll bring you down. You can ride with me if you wanted to.
well, she would have to stay here, man.
Well,
Somebody, yeah. I mean, I'll consider it. I mean, that's a good,
consider it, but try to let me know sooner than later.
right. You gave me some good lead time, so I'll appreciate.
I've been offered to speak at a conference maybe a dozen times over the last 10 years, and I've always said no. But when this time came around, it was crazy because as soon as I got home, all of a sudden my phone started lighting up with all these massive YouTubers that suddenly remembered my phone number. And then my channel started coming back. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what is going on here? First of all, I'm thinking it's a trap. And then I went, maybe this is God showing me that being depressed was stupid, that I had lost faith. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just to be real with you, because I mean, right off the bat, I'm thinking this is a trap, this is a trick. But for some reason, we're being given a voice again, and I
I
don't.
hear you, man.
You know what I mean?
I think that's all God. It's all intentional. What the enemy means for evil, God will make it good. I guarantee you, part of it is, yeah, they do want as much data through you as they
Yeah.
possibly can get, because they're building this creature, man.
Oh
That's part of
yes.
the links I did send you. touch on all the tech giants. Literally all of them, dude. The biggest in the worldwide are all uniting.
I know. I saw. I got. There's a
What is
video.
that?
There's a video I pulled up. I'm trying to see if I saved it right here. There's a video of AI is now building itself, writing its own code,
Yeah.
and writing its own digital DNA. What we talked about in the last live stream, it's gone past that twofold
Yeah.
in a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's now. I am positive that it is all done, and they thought they could roll it out to 2030. And I think the AI is like, listen, I'm just going to take the wheel if you guys don't get this done,
Yeah.
because there's no way technology is doubling and tripling overnight. You know what I mean? It's already got to be done, and they're just getting it out, getting it out, getting it out. I think it's hard to know.
No,
But
no, I agree, and it's being held back. God is restraining this stuff, dude. If that weren't the case, it would have been a long, long time ago. They would have, you know what I'm saying?
On that note, everybody's like, God will save us. God will protect us. God loves America. And it's like, are you kidding me? God loves the children. And what do we do every single solitary year? How did Bill Gates make all his money? Planned Parenthood. How come people aren't protesting every single day with vigor about this? You know what I mean? The amount of missing children, and then the Planned Parenthood makes it all. God's not smiling on us, man. I believe we are Babylon. 10 years ago, I didn't think that, but right now, I'd have to say we are.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You know,
there's
go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's layers of Babylon. You have mystery Babylon, Babylon the Great, mother of harlots. Like the world system is basically Babylon. The world religions are transferring into Babylon. To put a specific location on Babylon, I'm not your guy, you know what I mean? But I can look at the United States, I can look at the Vatican, I can look at London. I see Babylon all over the place. We're
All right.
in that system that is Babylon all together. You know what I mean? It's Mystery Babylon, it's Babylon the Great, it's the mother of harlots, it's all of these things. You know, it sits on 7 mountains, and I think that might refer to the 7 continents, you know, because it's a worldwide system. That, again, those links I sent you prove that. They're running governments through AI now. They're running all the major tech giants, you know, the kings of tech, the titans, the giants.
Right. You saw the AI, the road rage incident where AI, a guy got killed in a road rage incident.
Yeah, and he's in court.
And he shows up, and it swayed. The judge had no idea, allegedly, that this was going to be presented. And the AI version of the dead guy swayed the judge completely. Yeah. Dude, that's insane. Yeah. That's insane, man. You know what I mean? Like AI testifying as a witness.
I'm telling you,
guy's saying words, but so I can't. It's too exciting.
That's where it's going.
It's where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely. It's manifesting right before our eyes. A lot of countries, Saudi Arabia, China, they already have AI judges. You go to AI court, dude. You don't even go before a judge, nothing. An AI with all the data, because it knows more about you than you do.
Right.
It just assesses the data and says you're guilty or you're innocent.
AI is like the ultimate psych. If excuse me. If a psychiatrist was real and you could tell them your story and they could compile it all and give you an actual answer, like, here, this is what's wrong with you, do this. But they never do. They just milk you. But AI is like the ultimate psychiatrist. It looks at everything you purchase, everything you say. My stepmother is the ultimate New World Order citizen. Okay? For instance, Junior, that's me. You got a bill from the dentist, which is ironic. CJ, I paid the bill. I paid him in cash. Yeah, but you got a bill. I hear you, but see that amount, I already paid them. But you should pay them. I already paid them. So if she gets a bill, even if she already paid it, she'll pay it again because those are the rules. The authorities sent her a letter, so she's got to pay it. Even she is noticing that she'll talk about something, and then 10 seconds later, it'll be on one of the screens.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, and I'm like, it's because it's listening. It's been listening. It's listening and learning the entire time. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
but she's even seeing the tip of it. And my father mentioned directed energy weapons. And I didn't even chase it. He's like, yeah, that's how they burned down Hawaii and Los Angeles. And I'm like, and he knows that climate change is a hoax, but
Yeah.
everything else is regular. And I'm like, Dad, climate change, that hoax is literally shaping how every country, every person is going to live. It's the
Yeah.
biggest hoax in the world. Before the pandemic, it was the biggest hoax in the world. So it freaks me out that he knows that much, but that's as much as he'll know. All right, go live your
Yeah.
life, man, unless you got something pressing.
No, dude, I'm good, man. It's a good thing about being your own boss, I guess,
I
you
hear
know.
you. I hear you.
No,
I
all
hear you.
this stuff I do, dude. I think we're right on the cusp. We're witnessing the falling away. We're witnessing great deception.
And
We're
people are
witnessing.
going to take offense to that. We're trying to warn them that the little season is a falling away, and they're going to take offense to that. And I don't know how to fix that.
Well, you can't, man. You can't fix that. Except the only thing we can do is pray that they come to truth because they're defecting from the truth. If you're blatantly taking what the Bible says and disregarding the huge portions of it to fit your new mystery, that's a delusion, man. That's a delusion.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I read everything that I could on Jesus' return and then Satan being loosed for a little while.
Yeah,
It never said Satan is released before he's thrown in the pit forever or the lake of fire forever. It never once says, so Jesus leaves and then releases Satan, then he comes back afterwards.
right.
It never says that.
No,
Jesus isn't one to hide. He didn't hide from
no.
anybody. He walked into his own death. He actually told somebody, "Hey, dude, shut up. I have to do this. This is why I'm here. Don't try to save me. Don't cut people's ears off. I'm good. Here, dude. Here's your ear back. All right." He didn't read the script. He's not paying attention.
Peter
Jesus
again.
isn't the type to hide. I don't understand. Like, if we're in the little season, where is Jesus? Where are
Exactly.
all the saints?
Exactly. The 1,000 years isn't like it doesn't have like a hard end point. When
Right,
Jesus comes to reign and rule, it's forever.
right. It's his
And
domain.
then Satan's release, he convinces the nations to attack, and they're burned up.
Right.
I mean, that's the little season, and it doesn't say it's 247 years long, or they can't tell you how long the little season is, when it started. Did it start? You know what I'm saying?
I
And
do. I do.
I have a heart for these people in my
Me
main
too.
concern.
That's why I'm doing this first thing in the morning, brother.
I totally hear you, man. That's why I'm here with you because I know that about you. I do. And, we're doing the best we can, dude. I mean, we really are. Don't ever think that you're underperforming or, not doing enough because that's just not true, man. Just the prayer that you're in while you're working on your truck, like me, man. I mean, while I'm doing everything else, man, my mind's just it's praying, it's thinking, what can I do for you, Lord? How can I help this situation?
I
And
I I took umbrage to a channel that I've just discovered, and you'll now you see TV. Everybody told me about it. I never followed them, and those are the guys that set up this conference.
yep, I
And they
know of them.
reached out to me, and I talked to a couple of people, and they're like, "That's a solid channel." So I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to listen to some of their live streams, and I'll catch them." That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. So I'm listening, and all of a sudden they'll say something, and I'm like, aha. And then a couple minutes later, they'll come right back around, and I'm like, wait, all right, so they're on it. So the only thing I've got an issue with is they keep saying the word broadcasting. Welcome to our broadcast, and we're broadcasting live. And I'm like, guys, prayer is important because we're Americans. Words don't mean anything to us. Words are important, man. You know what I mean? Words can change things.
They sure do.
Saying the word broadcast to me is evil because you're saying that you're broadly casting. Am I being hypercritical?
Well, maybe a little, but at the same time, it's because you're discerning things. You want shit to be squared away, man. There's no room for any leaven in this loaf. You know what I mean? And so we have a natural God-given radar to look for these things. We're supposed to be fruit inspectors, man. And there's a few things about those guys, NYC TV, whatever, that I have seen and heard that caused me to go, I don't fully agree with that. But it's not anything that's salvational or differs from the sound doctrine of, Jesus' gospel.
Okay.
So, if their foundation is solid, the little things that we pick up on, we're supposed to bounce that stuff off of one another. That's what we're meant to do. Is to
Okay, because usually what I'll do, and you've seen this happen, I'll think about it, and then I'll just start getting, instead of talking to somebody or even praying about it, it'll just simmer, and then I'll blurt it out in a video, insulting thousands of people. So I'm trying not to do that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because even the kid that's running this, John Pounders, a friend of mine said, I am shocked that he wanted you on this so bad. I said, oh, he definitely wanted me on this at this conference. So I said, sure, why not?
Yeah,
I got to see what I don't know what their stance is on this exact topic, and I'm sure I'll know soon. But I mean, if they think we're in the little season, I will go right up on stage and ruin that for them. I'm not going to play ball. I'm going to spit it as it is. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I don't think you'll find them believing that.
I hope not. Somebody, I think I got an email or a comment that said, dude, those guys are on the train. And I'm like, no. I like their format at night. They do the midnight run. I listen to it while I'm working. And it's like the new Coast to Coast.
Sort of.
They cover all the topics and everything, but they tie it into the Bible so much better. George Norrie never did that. You know what I mean?
He won't talk about the Bible
because that's not how he got his fame, man. You want to be famous. You want to be really well off in this world. You got to give it up. Period.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
you live in your parents' basement. Actually, they live in my basement, but whatever. I was supposed to move down there. My father he's too set in his ways. He doesn't want to move upstairs. So whatever. But all right, Keith. That was an hour, dude. That was only supposed to be 10 minutes, but
well, you cover everything. You sure you don't want to go over?
You tell me. Let me ask you this. And I think I forgot about this completely. What do you make of that $35,000 computer that has its own bowels and is made from human DNA and blood, and it's got its own life support system? Have you heard of this? I did a video on it.
Oh, no, I know all about it. Yeah.
Why isn't this on the news every day? And what do you make of this, dude? I don't even understand this. I don't even. Okay, how about this? Let me give you this, and then I'll let you run. I just said that electronics are made from the dirt of the earth, just like we were. So now they're making one after the fact. They're not messing with the dirt. They're just going to the finished product and then turning that into a computer. Does that make any sense?
Only that the heart of man is desperately wicked, and that they will convince themselves that they are the ultimate creators. They want to dismiss the fact that there's a God, that he's the creator of all things. They want to make themselves gods. That it really just boils down to that, and it's a mockery of God.
So they're taking God's creation, which would be us, on a smaller scale. So
Right.
they've made a little action figure, we'll call it, that's got a heart, lungs, it can poop, which is odd. It's got kidneys, but then they slap a computer on it. So now it's no longer just God's creation, it's an advanced creation. Is that am I following?
Well, yeah, it's literally a freaking trans, right? That's a transhuman in a sense. Again, it's like it's a mockery. Man will not even knowing he's doing it because of his wicked heart. Yeah, unless you're converted, we're wicked, man. And even when you're saved and converted, you still can have tendencies, right?
Yep.
And I think them doing something like that is just what their heart drives. It just shows you where they're at.
Are you seeing this?
The bipartisan commission.
The National Blueprint for Biodefense is talking about an event happening on July 4th of this year where 280,000 people die or something to that effect.
Huh.
I just found this. I haven't looked through it yet, but I know what the gist is. I'll send you a link to it. I don't know what it is or what it means, but it sounds an awful lot like another event 201.
Man.
You know, people are under the impression that if these guys kill the electrical system, if they shut down the grid in the United States, which they can do with a push of several buttons, they've tied everything in, World Wide Web, they've tied everything in perfectly that all they got to do is kill the button and then just sit back and wait. It doesn't affect them. No. 30 years ago in the military, almost 40 years ago in the military. I can't believe how old we are, dude. Almost 40 years ago in the military, we had hardened assets that you could drive if there was an EMP, if there was a nuke. It was impervious to being taken out by traditional methods. Your electricity would remain. Right. Well, 40 years later, everything is hardened. People don't get that. They've got their own web that we don't know about. It's not the dark web. It's the above web, the ether web, or whatever you want to call it. You want a great reset? Shut it down and just wait. We'll do the rest. Humans are great at this. We'll kill each other at the drop of a hat. You know,
it's funny. Trump talking about a reset a lot here lately. Reset with China. Reset with the economy.
Yeah. UK is going. Christine Lagarde said recently, like in the past week, that the UK by, I believe it was August 2025, was going to go digital. If the UK is going digital, so aren't we.
Oh, absolutely.
Because no one major player is going to go to a whole different setup, and that we're not. It's absolutely happening. I don't understand why people don't get this, but whatever.
I don't either, man. I'm expecting Trump to buy like 1 million Bitcoins at some point, and that'll be the new Fort Knox.
Right.
Remember
the Fort Knox that him and his buddies went to check on that gold?
Yeah.
Nobody seems to care. It's amazing how much levity they'll give this guy. He's done nothing to help America. He's done quite the opposite. He's intentionally destroying the economy. You know, it's unbelievable what's going on, and people just don't see it, man.
That's one of the links I sent you. Trump the Magician. You remember that?
Did you send it today?
Yeah, Marina Abramovic.
I don't want. Why am I not getting my? It came in at 9:34 a.m.
That sounds right. Yeah, it's like the top couple of it. It says Trump the Magician, Marina Abramovic, and there's a couple links there.
Yeah, but they're not showing up as links.
They're not clickable.
It says Trump the Magician. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, I got it. Okay, well, I'll include them when I edit this anyways. No worries at all.
He's the magician, man.
Oh, she said it numerous times. And I mean, he keeps talking MAGA. Every single solitary language MAGA translates to magician, just
Yeah,
period.
exactly.
We're talking Italian, Polish, Latin, Greek,
I know.
Sumerian. It's magician. And people know it's Make America Great Again. Yeah.
Strong delusion, man.
The beauty of what I've done, just randomly putting, I'm going to buy a brand new truck for the first time in my entire life. I bought a brand new car. That was my forerunner. I mean, 50 something years old. I never owned a new car ever. I put 150,000 miles on it since I got it. That's a lot of miles, dude.
Yes, it is.
I've seen all of the United States. We can't go. It's astonishing that these Trump people are like, well, we can just make it in America. Okay. But first we have to build the facilities, which will take 6 months to a year on a good day.
Oh yeah.
We don't have any infrastructure.
No.
Why do you think they stopped fixing the roads? Why do you think they stopped fixing the highways? Why do you think anything that goes up is completely anti-freedom? You know, there's plenty of those electronic toll booth things and everything every place. You know,
Yep.
UPS is going to start using robots to deliver to your house. Did you see that?
I cannot imagine having a robot deliver me
Like
something.
next week, they're talking like right away, not down the road, like soon. They're already testing it.
It's all going that way. And there'll be little constables, you know what I mean, that scan everywhere they go and feed it to the AI.
Well, who's already got them? China and I think China and Germany already have the robot cops that are out there. And I guess it's been a thing for a while.
That's absolutely insane.
Insane. And we've already seen them go batshit crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People like, oh, and people make excuses for that. Oh, no, it was just that robot. As soon as it came online, it was going right after the guy that made it. I watched it 1,000 times. It wasn't just randomly flailing its arms. It was every time he moved, it moved right after him. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine if that thing busted loose and got a hold of that dude.
Oh, dude. Well, it's probably already happened. They just don't release that video. You know?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And speaking of releasing the video, that's from China, and China did release that. So what's the real purpose?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Just like when COVID, we were seeing videos of people standing in China and then just suddenly falling.
Right, yeah.
Before we even heard about COVID. Remember, that was the preamble.
Yep, I remember it clearly.
Bums me out that people still think that that was a thing.
Oh, I know, man. You want to talk about a freaking major freaking total freaking deception, man. That was amazing. And
they relabeled everything people die from. I do not believe COVID was real. I don't believe it was a bioweapon. They simply relabeled everything as COVID. You know, people were like, well, I was sick. I had a hard time breathing. Well, you know what? People get sick. I used to, haven't since 2000. I used to get sick every year. It was just your body cleansing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you usually get sick in the winter because that's the same time the earth is rebuilding. It loses its leaves. It comes back. You know,
there's a cycle to it. They had an institute or what have you, a lab in England for over 40 years where they were trying to see how the common cold spread, and they were taking people's boogers and spit and blood.
I remember.
Literally feeding it to people, and they could not. They finally had to shut it down.
Yep. You don't get sick from other people. You don't get sick. The only way you can get a disease transferred to you, this isn't me. These were all, if you recall, the 13 different MDs I had on during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, you can't get sick unless it's injected. Yeah. It's either your body's getting sick or you get injected. And people are like, nope, my little kids got sick, so I got sick.
Yeah, right.
Well, here's the other thing. Watching something on TV constantly, you'll have symptoms. You won't be able to breathe. You won't be able to taste. Hey, I can't breathe. It happens, man. You know what I mean? They're brainwashing you. It's a real thing.
Plus, they already have the electronic warfare freaking infrastructure through your TV, through your internet router, through your phone. They can target you. They can literally take your breath away.
Yep.
I mean, it's to that point, man.
Those patents are older than you and I.
Yeah,
They've
I
been
know.
working on that. I mean, the patent where they showed that they could make you sick from a computer monitor and even do something to the guy next to you that's not working on that computer. That
Yep.
was crazy. And that was in the 60s. The
Oh yeah.
60s.
They had all the flicker rate stuff down by
Yep.
then, the different wavelengths.
That's why when they first really started pushing their new technology, kids were having seizures from cartoons and video
Right.
games. And
I
then that
remember.
kind of went away because they fine-tuned it.
Right.
Just like acid rain. They found out that using sulfuric acid to block out the sun caused direct consequences that day on Earth. So they
Right.
switched up. Barium,
Yeah.
strontium, aluminum work like a champ.
Yeah. That only kills slowly, right?
Yeah. Dementia, autism, things like that. Nobody notices. Nobody
Just
notices.
amazing.
People don't realize that when we were kids, that stuff didn't exist.
I know.
In school, you had a kid that was slow. It happens. In
Yeah.
school, you had a kid that was fat. It happens. You had a
Right.
skinny kid. Now everybody's fat and retarded. You know what I mean?
I know, man.
Totally normal. Just nature.
It's amazing how they're able to do that, man. But we see it. We know it.
It's crazy, dude. This little season thing, I didn't realize how divisive this was because I thought nothing of it, and I still do.
Right.
And people are holding on to it so tight because there's channels. When the flat Earth came up, there was so many
Yeah.
videos that were so well put together, so well edited, and the guys presenting spoke so eloquently.
Right. Yeah.
We don't. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I didn't my first thought was this is bullshit. And I started saying that. Flat Earth, it's the stupidest thing. Who cares what shape? It's a distraction. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, they're hiding God.
Oh,
And
yeah.
instead of watching a video, I went to the ocean. I got a P900. I went to the mountains. I launched drones. And I'm like, and then I started talking to special forces, airline pilots. And they're like, yeah, didn't you go to sniper school? And I'm like, well, I didn't actually make it through sniper school, but I do remember the basics. We
Yeah.
never had to adjust for the curvature of the earth.
Yeah. The Coriolis effect.
Yes, right. Rail guns. The
Yeah.
military's own rail gun
Yeah. Explain
completely
that.
ruined everything, dude.
Yeah.
Because it's not guided. It's just kinetic energy. And if that thing worked and you shot it at somebody 5 miles away, it would just shoot up in the outer space. And it never did. Never did. So
You could go on and on. They target things from 25, 50 miles away, on a flat surface. It's absurd. Once that was revealed to me, man, I was like, wow, it is absurd that I ever believed that this was a spinning ball.
me too. But dude, we grew up with it. We grew up with it.
Born into it.
Every school, every library. People don't know what libraries are anymore, but there were these really nice buildings with lots of books. They all had a globe in it. But
Yep.
the thing is our grandparents went to school and they learned the exact opposite. It was obvious that the earth was flat because look around. It's pretty flat. It's not moving, but
I know, man. And that's something that you can prove. And you can put proof right in front of people and they just don't see it.
right.
Can't explain that, but it's something that it's inside a person,
It's gonna get tougher. I thought it was gonna get easier, but
Yeah.
no, I mean, I thought it was going to get easier as far as people understanding what's real and what's not. But people are still on the Trump bandwagon. Everything is great. We're in the little season. All the bad stuff already happened. It's all smooth sailing. That's not the case. It's not the case. Not trying to be a doomsayer, man, but
Well, no, but I mean, I'm
ain't
going
looking
by,
too good.
well, I go by what the Bible says, man. And
Right.
I see the evidence.
Me too.
I can point right to it, show you it. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. That's you. But
It bothers me when people don't believe it when you present them with the evidence. It just bothers me.
well,
I take it personally, I think.
it just
I still got a lot of, knowing that there was a God was one thing, but really diving into the Bible and trying to not just reading it to say, okay, did it, check. I'm trying to understand it. And the Bible is not easy to understand. You know what I
Well,
mean? That's why things like this helped me. Meeting this guy was a big deal because reading these books made me crack I'm reading the book and then I'm cracking the Bible and then it started making sense. So I'm eternally grateful to this kid, Mike.
hey man, obviously he was inspired by God to do it.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. All right, Keith,
He's
I'm gonna let you go, brother. I gotta get on this. It's almost 11, man.
dude. I got fighter jets literally passing over my house right now.
Yeah, everybody does. I got 2 videos this morning of some lady in her backyard and a Black Hawk buzzed the treetops over her house.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. There's nothing,
Yeah.
dude. In a real world, the military would never do that because we've got bases every place, and the liability if one of those birds comes down,
Right.
but they don't care anymore.
There is no more.
America.
There is no more liability. You are the military base, and they're going to do whatever they want.
Yep. You train as you fight. I've been telling people that for years.
That's right.
You know what I mean? There's no place like home. They got to train here because that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, we're getting there, man.
At any rate, do me a favor because I'm going to bother you again tonight and then one more time tomorrow. Let me know if you want to do that. We'll drive. I'll bring it. We'll drive down to Kentucky together if you're down for that.
I'm definitely considering it, man.
All right. Well, let me know because if you say yes, he's going to want to put you up on the website, and there's a few perks to it. You know what I mean? But the major thing is, it's already the VIP tickets or whatever, I guess, already sold out. So people are going.
Yeah.
Not only the word we can spread there in the heart of Kentucky, where people are pretty much on the right page. It's funny how hillbillies are actually awake.
Yeah. Right.
But all the videos, it'll spread the word even more. Your word is it's special. I know that sounds super gay, but I tell people that all the time. Keith makes a video when the video comes to Keith. I go to many times I've had to I gotta make a video about something. Fortunately, in this world, you can sit here all day making videos because it's just constant.
Oh yeah.
At any rate, you know what I'm saying.
I sure do, man.
Do they have the end recording button? Go ahead.
Do they have a website or what's the theme of this conference?
It's called Spirit. I'll send you the link.
All right.
I'll send you the link.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, man.
All right. I'll hit you up later on or first thing in the morning, one of the two.
Okay, brother.
All right. You have a good night, man. A good day or whatever it is.
Yeah, this thing we're in. Okay.
Exactly.
Later, man.
Thanks, Keith.
We'll talk.